Senator Coons and Senator Carper. I'm a lifelong Delaware resident, born and raised here, and been interested in politics, and I'll be turning 70 this year. Been interested in politics since about 1960. Yep, that's right. I was 10 years old when I used to hang out at the airport, ride my bike 5 miles over there just to be around airplanes. And this airplane flies in one day, and off gets John Kennedy. And it was August, late summer, just before we went back to school. I weaved my way up to the line. Had no idea who John Kennedy was or what politics was all about. But I got up there, and this guy pats me on the head and shakes my hand and moves off to the podium and gives a speech. When I got home that night, my parents were all excited. John Kennedy was in town, blah, blah, blah. So ever since that time, I've been following politics and actually been involved. I've been for a number of years, was a 13 district committee member, a couple times delegate to the Delaware State Democratic Convention. But I got to tell you guys, over the past few years, I am ashamed to say I'm a lifelong Democrat. Because everybody keeps spinning this whole thing, keeps further dividing and dividing and dividing the country. I remember when we elected a president and then everybody went on about their business. You're never, ever going to agree on all the policy, but we supported our president, especially on the international front. Not happening today, folks, gentlemen. What I'm seeing now with these impeachment hearings, and Senator Coons, I heard you out there make your little speech today, and you're talking about the fair trial. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, if I was sitting in Mitch McConnell's space, I would have just rubber stamped the rules they used in the House and moved them over to the Senate. How would you guys would have liked that? Do you think that would have been fair? That's why it wasn't fair, and that's why in fact, the founders built it into our Constitution. In case you guys don't know, maybe you ought to go read it. That, you know, there should be this rift between Congress and the executive branch. There's a separation of church and state, and there is a process. If they wanted to subpoena witnesses, number one, why didn't they? And number two, they should have gone to the courts and waited for the response. But no, they were in a hurry. And it's funny, when you look at a timeline, everything the president does that's good, it seems like the Democratic Congress comes out and reports something negative about this impeachment thing. It's ridiculous. And Senator Carper, looking at you, going back to the day, I remember in the Union Hall having a discussion with you, you probably don't remember it, about NAFTA. We were vehemently against NAFTA, yet you voted for it. We knew what it was going to be. We knew how it would end up. I used to do all Joe Biden's maintenance work at his house when he was still a pauper. And I remember talking to him about the Arab oil embargo and things I thought we should do to stop that. And I heard a 15, 20-minute dissertation of why we can't do that. Guess what? Turns out I was right. He was wrong. Also, on the Iraq vote, on going to war in Iraq, most of us mortals out here knew that that was a bad thing to do. There was no weapons of mass destruction. We knew it before. And yet, Biden voted for it. So, I don't understand. If you folks don't think that we can't see through what partisan politics is in a fair trial. Now, let's get to the impeachment. Number one, the whole impeachment inquiry wasn't fair because, well, you know why. I don't have to explain it to you. I think you're smart enough to understand it. But number one, let's look at the obstruction of Congress. He did not obstruct Congress because Congress did not make the subpoenas. There's no rule that says he has to voluntarily submit to that stuff. They should have gone to the courts, done what was supposed to have been done, and gone that path. They elected not to do that. As far as the thing about holding the funds over Ukraine, that's just speculation, hearsay, and innuendo. There's no proof of that. The transcript of the call proves that there's no proof of that. Could there have been an ancillary thing that benefited him? Possibly, but it would have been ancillary to what he was trying to find out, which is the corruption. And I could go on and on about this. I have all the facts. I can't believe that you guys do. You have to know. So if you don't, if you know and you're going on with this stuff, you're playing partisan politics. So don't give me all that crap about the gravity of this situation. This is all partisan politics because they know this guy can't be beat at the polls, so you're trying to drag him down. It's pure and simple. In fact, it's Christopher Coons. I saw you tried to play moderate at the Brett Kavanaugh hearings. I watched all these hearings. I watch them all. You were absolutely partisan during that thing because anybody in their right mind knew what was going on. So listen, I'm going to give you guys a challenge. If you care about your constituents in the state of Delaware here, versus which is more important to you, your party or your constituents in this country? That's the big question here. Which is more important, your constituents or your party? Because as it looks like now, it looks like to most of the Democrats, this is why I say I'm ashamed to be a lifelong Democrat, it's more party than it is country. Nancy Pelosi keeps saying, oh, we're upholding the Constitution. It's the Democratic Party that's doing everything to water down the Constitution, from First Amendment rights, Second Amendment rights, Fourth Amendment rights, and so on. So don't give me all that bull that you guys are trying to uphold the Constitution. So when you listen to these hearings this week, you remember what I just said. It may have been an ancillary thing for him. He did not directly do that. He was looking out for corruption based on what he knew was the best thing. And you got to admit that this president has done more in 3 years than the past 4 or 5 combined. Look it up. Again, yeah, I'd like a response to this. Yeah, I don't think you have balls enough to do it, but hey, come back, and not a canned answer either. Have a good day, and remember what I said. Remember your constituents, not your party. You're supposed to be loyal to the constituents, not your party. You want me to say it one more time? The constituents, the country, and not your party. Have a good day.